Okay.
Boom. Dirty Dancing.
Boom, 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 boom.
When I met you, I knew what everything was gonna be. Oh, sorry.
No, it's be my little baby, my one. That's the boom. It's been a minute since you got that treatment, audience. Let's talk some dirty.
Yeah, so the movie opens with a very, I think, kind of shittily done slow motion dance montage of people being very sensual with each other. This is the dirty dancing they're talking about, you realize as you watch.
I'm sucked
Do you like
in.
this, Lacey?
I love it.
You like this opening
Well, and especially
credit
because
sequence?
I wanted to be able to do the dances, so I thought it was really nice of them to slow it down for me. I didn't have that kind of technology. It was like, and so I thrust and lift my leg.
We should mention the choreography was by Kenny Ortega. Kenny Ortega would go on to direct the feature film Hocus Pocus. If you're wondering why the name seems familiar.
Was born that moment.
And he also directed High School Musical and The Descendants. So he went on to do a lot more of this.
Those
for
two
Disney.
make more sense. No, I guess all of them. No, Hocus Pocus got choreography.
Does it have dance stuff? I don't remember.
They have that stage. Anything with Bette Midler is going to do something.
It does. You're right.
Well, and the that actually makes a lot of sense because there are multiple moments where all three sisters walk or move in unison.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
They're actually made up a way of walking that people will try to do while they're drunk and then fall. I'll show it to you later.
I can't wait.
I'll need you and our kid to do it because it takes three people. All right.
The two leads are not above the title, which I find interesting. Dirty Dancing, starring Patrick Swayze. I say.
They weren't sure. How are these kids going to really work out?
All right, so then we hear Jennifer Grey doing some voiceover that will never come back for the rest of the movie.
Which is weird.
She's like, yeah, it was the summer of 1963. President Kennedy had many great years ahead of him, and we were heading on our fabulous vacation. I love my daddy so much. I'm going to give him a little hug.
This is not at all in the movie.
Okay, now what do you think of it? You're sometimes off-put by stuff like this.
You actually, I was happy that you said it. After we watched it the last time, you're just like, this is a dad-daughter relationship that is doing it right because I don't feel weird about it.
Yeah.
And same here. Like she's not looking at him while she's hugging him. He's not looking at her. There's something about that makes it just fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, here's a moment. But this was the first watching where I was like kind of pissed at, like, he's kind of an asshole to have such an outwardly favored child, to the point that when Lisa starts talking, he just gets up and goes, or he doesn't ask Lisa questions at all until baby fucks up.
Yeah, baby is doing the, personality mirroring. I'm like you.
Yes.
You're talking about the Ho Chi Minh Trail all the time. Now I am. You're talking about the Birmingham race riots protest. I'm going to talk about them.
You're a doctor. I don't like blood. I'll join the Peace Corps instead.
And so, yeah, they're driving from New York City, presumably, to the Catskills, and they're a TV commercial pleasant with each other on this long car trip. They're not like fighting with no air conditioning and farting on each other. They're just...
Also, the conversation is not flowing. Like, you can tell that all four of these people are not exactly... they're not all on the same level.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just being proper. Maybe you don't talk in the car. You're right, though. It is just kind of pleasant, but not happy and not rowdy.
Oh, no. Have you ever taken a car trip, even a 20-minute car trip that wasn't a disaster?
So we're proud of this family.
They're doing okay.
They're doing okay.
Jerry Orbach plays Dr. Jake Hausman. And the mom is not a character. The sister is kind of she's... What is Lisa, the sister? What's her deal?
She's there to show you what baby's not, and then what baby...
But what do you mean?
Baby's supposed to be serious and chaste, and or she kind of seems asexual until she starts to eye Johnny from across the room. Baby is not looking for a husband, where Lisa is an age where that is what she's supposed to be doing. So she's got a bunch of shoes she packed and dresses, and she's on a mission. It makes her seem horny, but when you think about it, baby's going to the Peace Corps. She's all set. She doesn't have to figure that part out now. But Lisa needs to find a good husband, hopefully a doctor from this exact resort.
Yeah, because when she realizes she didn't pack the right shoes, she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my Louis, I don't have my shoes."
Stop quoting
And
Richie
then
Rich.
Dr. Hausman is like, "This is not a tragedy. A
Right.
tragedy is
When it's
people being sprayed by a fire hose in Birmingham."
It's exactly
Shut up.
It's exactly him and his desire to go to resorts like this, full of people just like him, that put Lisa in that very position. She needs to keep up,
Yeah.
and she needs to be number one for the wait staff to pick over.
Is who's older though? Is Baby or Lisa older? I couldn't figure it out.
I have no idea.
I think Baby is supposed to be the older. I think.
I mean, they call her Baby, so I mean, I just
Yeah.
assumed a lot of people who are the last born kind of get stuck with their little name because the kids perpetrated.
Yeah, Baby, aka Francis. So yeah, they arrive at Kellerman's resort complex, and this is the Catskills, and resorts like this were popular at the time, though, as we see in this movie, kind of going out of fashion. And by 1987, this world was basically extinct. But the history of the area is pretty interesting. Like Jewish farmers basically settled the area and then realized the land's not good for farming, but did find there is sort of an economy for people leaving New York City during the really hot summers because the climate, even though it's only like an hour away, is very it's cooler.
Okay.
And yeah, vacation destinations just kind of grew over the course of the 20th century.
If you got enough land, you can hit all the things. You have the golf course, right? And the skiing. They need a lake.
Yeah, and I think it happened like they would like hire migrant farmers and set up boarding houses, and then they're like, our farming's not doing well, but our boarding is actually like making us money. So if people instead don't come here to farm, but to recreate,
and they're not going to farm for fun. You know, you put still images of the movie in the PowerPoint that we use as a guide, and I'm looking at this one, and I guess they are kind of signaling that Baby is, if there is a rebel in the family, it's clearly Baby. But like her rebellion so far has been very approved by her dad. But you see, she's wearing the more bohemian look, where Lisa still looks like she's in the 50s. I mean, she's only missing the poodle skirt. Lisa's dressed like her mom.
Yeah.
Baby's dressed masculine.
And the early 60s, it's one of the most interesting times because it's like aesthetically still seems like it's the 50s, but things are changing very rapidly, and some people realize it and some people don't. That's why Mad Men is so interesting. That's why they chose this year. It's, they could have chosen any year. And, basically a few months before Kennedy died.
Seems like it has to be. Otherwise, it's just like 9/11. It's all you'd be talking about.
Yeah. Well, and you can really, like, obviously that's the big shit, or the big thing that seems like it was the shift. Would you want to go on vacation here?
Yes.
Really?
I love the world that it builds, that trail she walks up and down, that goes to the staff quarters. But just, it's like, it reminds me of like those couple of rare vacations I had as a kid. I didn't have a ton of vacations, but there were some where it's protected enough where you can be 8 years old and be like, okay, bye. And you can go to the boardwalk, not whatever. As long as it's connected to the resort, you get to walk around wherever you want. And I just love that idea of having independence. And like, I can have like a guy that I'm crushing on, and my rest of my family doesn't have to see me playing charades with him or whatever.
That part seems fun. The part where it's like, it doesn't seem very relaxing. It's like you get out of the car and they're like, there's a meringue class, get to it. Like, and you're constantly having to learn dances with all these people and make macaroni pictures and attend lectures and stuff. Yes, you do.
You do not have to do it. It's just like a cruise ship. They are terrified you're going to figure out there's nothing to do because you're trapped here. So they're like, there are activities if you want them, or just chill. Like, it just depends on how hungover you are, which track you're going to take that day.
Well, how much, we don't see very much alcohol in this. I'm
talking about a cruise again.
No, I know, but like, that's the thing to make all of this, bearable. Wayne Knight is like the activities director. He is just constantly moving in the background and talking about what classes are coming up,
but performances every night, right? He's on the PA, but he's the master of ceremonies. I never thought of it before, but it is a cruise ship. You are stuck. You just drove an hour and a half to get here. You're here for 3 weeks. It's time to cha-cha.
So the first dance class is in this gazebo, and I think the gazebo here's a film theory. I think this is a reference to Top Hat, the movie Top Hat, because I think
yes,
I think that the baby and Johnny storyline is very much a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers sort of plot from the many musicals they made together, where it's like these two people, they don't seem like they'd like each other, and one's like a great dancer and one's not, but for some reason they get stuck in a gazebo together, and he's like, don't you know how to dance? She's like, no, I don't know how to dance. And he's like, you just do this. Da, 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 da. She's like, you mean this? Da, 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 da.
It's also the plot to every Elvis movie.
Okay. So that's what's going on here.
Okay, but they did it in a gazebo.
Gazebo,
okay,
yes.
That's where we started talking.
That's where what fucking song?
Fucking in a gazebo, my baby.
Be my little Zebo.
Oh. We're naming our next kid Zebo. All right. So this is where we get, this is, again, I noticed a lot of things in this watching that I just didn't ever before. I knew this movie was about class and privilege and the haves and the have-nots, but like they even break it down to the staff. Again, a cruise ship, right? The staff that gets to be above the deck, that gets to be the face of the resort. And, the owner, Kellerman, actually minds these kids from Harvard and Yale, and because he wants them to be handsome, he wants them to be Jewish, he wants them to be someone that the fathers can be proud that they knocked up their child. I mean, I guess it's a 3 to 2 week vacation. They're going to be young kids that are like fucking age. I guess he'd be in trouble if he had some low lives around to like mess around with the daughters. Not that they're there to do it, but that it'll happen. That it's a foregone. It's just nature. It'll happen. So we might as well make it to where, hey, I got you a doctor in the family. And he says as much. Romance them. Do what, whisper in their ear, whatever weird shit he says to the staff.
He says, show the goddamn daughters a good time. All the daughters, even the dogs.
Even the dogs.
Schlep them out to the terrace. Show them the stars. Romance them any way you want.
It's very interesting, though. I mean, was waitering only a male profession? It's like he doesn't care about the sons. I guess you're not allowed to be a female waiter or hostess in this environment. All of the female positions are with the dance crowd, where they're the understaff. So
it's like to be a waiter, it's like a good gig to have, because
make connections.
Baby's dad gives Robbie an envelope of cash at the end of the movie, which presumably this kind of thing is happening all the time.
Sure.
You're like making connections with nice older men who will like mentor you and support you just because you were a nice waiter to them for a week.
It's like these people are already vetted. You want to help your community. So it's like, this is a nice Jewish boy who's doing something and he's going to let me give him, it makes sense. It's not like there's a million Robbies running around out there. It turns out there are. Piece of shit Robbie. And is he the only one that fucks? I'd fuck half of those guys. I don't understand why he's not. Okay,
there's just so many stories to tell. This could make
there
could be a streaming series about Kellerman's.
That's why I love it. I love Keller. I think
Lionsgate just heard me.
That was my line. Okay, so Kellerman's giving the talk to the waiters, and it's pushy, but it's, you guys are nice. I like you. I love you. Bye. And then he
said, I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye. And then he fucking, now it's time to talk to this dog shit Johnny who moves like a fucking stallion, and I hate him so much. Dance pervert. I mean person. Anyway, he basically says, like, you're teaching the mambo and the cha-cha and you lay your hands off.
No funny business.
No, it's nothing funny in your life for these next several weeks, Johnny. Anyway, right. Kellerman would have a lawsuit on his hands if any of these daughters got knocked up by these scumbags. But you need someone to push around, so why not pay pennies to the dance crew? You know what? Maybe because it's a tip industry, he doesn't have to pay the waiters that much. Plus, they're getting connections. We need low class guys that we find in a diner, which is where he found Johnny to teach him these dances, so that we can pay nothing. Because what are they gonna fucking do?
It's very Dickensian.
It's wrong.
He wants these guys.
I have a lot to say.
I want you to be here to titillate, but not that much. Just the promise of a little sex.
Look at how. Well, yeah, he'd have to fire them. I mean, they find out baby was in his room. He gets fired. The dad is pissed. That is what would be happening all over the place. Kellerman's not wrong.
Well, but the job description is you got to be here to like excite them a little, get them a little.
I don't know that
moisten their jeans.
that.
You know what I'm saying? He says that.
He does. All right.
Why is my clicker not working?
Because you're trying to look up moist jeans and it doesn't want to.
Guilty.
All right. So now we get on to the activities. We're at night 1. And I mean, I'm not sure why. Kellerman is Dr. Hausman's patient, and he's been inviting him here for years, and he finally shows up. So this is just a big get for Kellerman. And when he hears what a lovely child baby is, he's like, oh, I've got the grandson for you, or pimp, call boy, and calls over Neil, fucking wet diaper Neil, to show her a good time. Is there a more pompous ass? God, I hate him.
He's studying hotel management. That's nice. He's kind of like in White Lotus season 2, and this whole season was reminding me of this whole movie. I'm thinking of White Lotus. He's like Michael Imperioli's son in season 2, whose name I should have looked up. But he's the nice guy, but who you know what? I don't remember any of these characters' names or actors' names, so forget about it.
He's a safe guy that doesn't mind dancing with a little bit of a dog. She's not a dog. I think she's beautiful, but maybe she's not. Maybe she's not. She's a brain, right? She's not gonna. Maybe the waitstaff's not gonna.
Well, she says, I'm studying economics of underdeveloped countries.
Right.
I'm going to be moving on to the Peace Corps. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm taking a freedom ride to Mississippi after this.
Okay. He said that after Kellerman insisted that they come talk to each other. That wasn't like a by chance meeting. He's trying to set her up with his nephew.
I know. This is when they're dancing. I'm saying she shows off the big brain. And he's like, I don't know about any of that.
Okay. Hotels. Magic. All right. And this is when she first gets to see Danny doing his... Danny. Who is Danny?
Zuko.
Fuck. You're right. This is when she gets to see Johnny doing his thing, and Penny and him dance beautifully. But Johnny comes in there breaking the rules right away. He danced too much with Penny. Quit showing off. Cut it out, says Kellerman. It's so silly.
Well, because he's like they're being too good at dance. Like they're doing too much of technically proficient dancing. You're intimidating them because you want to sell dance lessons to them.
They're using up too much of the song to be engaged with each other when what they're supposed to be doing is selling lessons, right? How it's going to get a cut.
Oh, so you need to literally start dancing with other people.
Yeah, which is what they do. And it drives me crazy because they're living in a time where you have to have a partner. Even the 11, 12-year-olds have a goddamn partner. They walk around and go taking each other's partners. What does that person do after Penny comes over and takes the man away? Like, okay, I'll just wait for my husband to come back.
Yeah. I don't.
Rude.
None of it makes sense to me. I'm this world.
Yeah, it's
dancing.
a cruise ship. Remember when we took the one and only cruise that almost ended our lives in marriage? And like immediately there's dancing on the, they give you the like coconut thing. And
and I'm like, what did I sign up for?
It's just like, okay, bye, husband. And I run off and I'm like, cha-cha-cha slide or whatever was happening.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not for everyone. You find your people.
No, I know.
Which was no one for you.
In remembering what cruises are like, I was like, I guess I ignored 70% of what happens on a cruise. I'm like, I want to go read a book. And
yeah.
I'd go on a cruise now, though. God, if we could go on a cruise.
Okay, enough with your busy signaling.
Not because we're busy. Just we need some time.
We do need some time.
Okay.
So what happens after this?
Well, wait. Johnny and Penny are doing the very impressive mambo, and Baby is like staring, mouth agape. What am I looking at? And this is filmed very well. Good hat tip. I doff my cap to director Ardolino. There are very few cuts. They're standing full in frame. You can see both of the actors. Totally, very impressive stuff.
It was very impressive. It was very important to him to get actors. The studio wanted to use stunt doubles, and he said, absolutely not. That is insane. He's like, no. So they were hired for their acting ability and their dancing.
You see, though, there's a tension here. Johnny's an artist, but the obligations of business coming in conflict with how he wants to actually express himself, as we'll see later when they say, dance the pachango. And he's like, the pachongo? We'll get to that later.
Pachanga. man, is there some sex in this room? Okay, filthy filth dancing happening. So baby's poking around, being a little nosy rosy, and sees Johnny's cousin, who I can't remember his name.
It's Billy.
Billy, who I love. Billy. He's an underdog in this story. Who's carrying too many watermelons. Also, what is it, a watermelon party? A watermelon and beer
We
party?
never see anyone eating any watermelon.
No, it's just like, what do we have laying around he needs help with? Give him some fruit. She comes and takes one. And
first he sees her and is like, what are you doing over here? Get out of here. There's no guests around here.
Because she's way back in the fucking, in the.
Well, know your place, baby.
Yes. She really is. Like, just enjoy your above board activities. You don't have to come down to steerage, man.
She's like the woman from the Pulp song Common People. She's like a rich girl, but she's like, I want to go cosplay as a poor person. That's fun to me.
Well, and they're off the clock. Let them do the thing they want to do.
That's true.
This is what they're looking forward to all day. They teach rich people the bunny hop, and then they come and do this for 2 hours, get drunk enough to fall asleep, and wake up and do it all over fucking again, baby.
This is like
now
when
you're in our shit.
Yeah.
This is our 2 hours.
This is like when your boss finds out you're going out to lunch. He's like, hey, can I come along?
No.
Like, well, then it's work.
And pay me for the Christmas party time that we spent. All right. So she walks in and she's blown away.
Because it's like an S&M club to her.
Absolutely. People expressing their genitalia all over each other. That makes sense. And boy, are these people into it. So she's in there. She's just looking around, and then I'm a love man. Oh, baby. That's right. I know every song that enters Johnny. Anyway, he comes in, and Johnny is the cat's pajamas. He's just humping everybody. Booty.
Respectfully.
But respectfully, just, what's that hip bump thing? Just pow. Penny and him are superstars. They dance. They do their kind of dancing. They're having a great time. And then Johnny sees baby from across the room. What's this chick doing in here? And then, weirdly, I guess maybe to make her part of the, if you're going to look at us, you're going to be in trouble too, madam. So come out here. That's how I took it. Like, let me pull you in on this. That way you can't go rat us out.
I was going to ask you about this because he starts dancing with her and I couldn't tell. Is he like mocking her with his like pelvic thrusts?
No.
But then they seem to like be
He's really teaching
sincerely dancing. But it's funny. The song ends and he, eloquently spins away, but she keeps dancing and then tries to play like, yes, claps her hands.
But I think it's a couple things. I think he's probably thinks that she's staring at them like zoo animals. So he wants to show her, number one, you don't know how to do this. It takes skill. Number two, you're going to be into this. Look how much it's fun. Number three, you just fucking did it. So now you're dirty too. I dare you to tell daddy now. I think it's a little bit of like leverage. Because it's not like they're friends now. In fact, he probably hates her more now. Right now, she's a problem. There's no way Kellerman knows this is what the waitstaff does after, not the waitstaff, but even worse, the dance people do.
These are all dance people?
Yeah. They're all the entertainment people.
How many dance people do they have at this resort?
It's not this. They don't all do the same level of dancing. It's a huge resort and there are activities around the clock. People need breaks. People need lunch. People need sleep. And not everybody works every day. So it's just like a cruise ship. I mean, you need people that are going to teach and do like the little like one-off things that are just like Penny doing the wig thing. That has nothing to do with dancing, but it's not like some, big, what's the word? Prestigious gig to have to put hair on rich ladies. So
I assume
it's just crew.
I guess it makes it a little better because I assume like these are also cooks and stuff. And it's like, how do they all know to be that good at dancing? It's that professional.
These are more of the people that Kellerman mines from lower class places so he can pay the people who are really keeping everything going as little as possible. That's my take on it.
We cut now to a world of contrast as there's very clean dancing in the gazebo. And
back to that damn gazebo.
We see how Johnny, we pay you to, do the mambo and the pachanga or whatever. What we actually want you to do is go titillate some older ladies. And so he's dancing with the housewives and presumably like
the bungalow bunnies.
And they slip him room keys and they're like, I'm in 18A. My husband won't be back till Saturday. And Neil takes baby on a walk. And he tells her, I'm the catch of the county, I am.
He loves watching her hair blow in the breeze.
He's got such a way with words.
Boy, does
But she's not having any of it because she's real. And she, sees past all of this.
Well, she's not trying to get a damn husband. She's about to leave the country. Like, back up, Neil.
Hey, he's a nice guy. You can treat him a little.
No, he's not.
Agreed.
Okay, but importantly, you're going to say what happens in the background?
In the background?
Of Neil and Baby's interaction.
What happens in the background?
Lisa is coming off the golf course with Robbie, who is clearly like taking some of her clothes off. Like, she's all disheveled. He wants to go further than she wants to. And now she's walking on one heel because one heel is either broken or off. And she's following him, chasing him. And she says, Robbie, I don't hear an apology. And he says,
That's Lisa?
Yeah. And he says, well, keep listening, Lisa. Maybe you'll hear one from your daddy or something like that. And it's like, okay.
Wait, that's, this is crazy.
It's immediate.
I thought that was someone else.
That's why the way to get out of this interaction with Neil, Baby says, I need to go check on Lisa.
Oh, okay.
But also you're right. This is a world of contrast. Johnny's being the most gentlemanly ever. He doesn't even want this bitch's room key, but he knows it's his role and he gets big tips this way. And he's in a suit. Meanwhile, Robbie's fucking date raping one of the guests and yelling at her about it. I'm sure he didn't actually assault just yet, but he was trying. And Lisa shut it down.
Well, afterward, Lisa's still like very positively inclined toward him. I guess that's why it didn't click for me that not that can't happen. That
I've been where Lisa is. Lisa thinks she did something wrong by not going as far as Robbie thought they were going to. Gave him blue balls or whatever. I'm sure he didn't say that, but that's the hint. So yeah, it's once Lisa decides I'm going to go all the way with Robbie that she's like, now I'm going to be the girl he needs. Like, that absolutely was still happening in the 90s for me.
So yeah, Neil takes Baby. He's like, hey, I can show you the world. I can show you the kitchen. Look, there's ice cream, and Baby then sees Penny, who's crying. And earlier it'd been like, where's Penny? I don't know where Penny is. Well, here she is. She's in the refrigerator crying.
In the closed kitchen where she should have some privacy.
We find out now Penny's in trouble. And she's with child. And Baby kind of stalks them. And she goes and gets Johnny and Johnny's cousin. She's like, you got to go, Penny, I'm trouble at the old mill. And they go and they collect Penny. And Baby, is the well-meaning liberal, is inserting herself in the situation. And is like, well, why don't you, do something about it? Like, what are we going to do? We don't have any money. And then she runs and gets money.
No, she says, ask Robbie. And Penny says, Robbie already knows he's not going to help. And so Baby goes to Robbie personally and says it. That's when he gives her the freaking Fountainhead book and she pours water down his pants.
That was my next note. Yeah, because she
does try Robbie first.
Yes.
She needs to see it with her own eyes.
Well, yeah, and he says
some people count. Some people don't.
And that she's balling every man on the property. He says balling. So how do I even know it's mine? And then
know chicks like that.
Check this book out, The Fountainhead. You should read it, but give it back to me because it's got my notes in it. I want to see those notes.
I've got notes in the margins.
I want to see those notes. This guy. Oof.
This is like Penny, huh? That's his note.
So yeah, so Baby then goes to her dad, and again she's the lassie thing continues. Dad, someone's in trouble, and he's like, oh, someone's in trouble? Who? And she's like, I can't say. Well, okay, Baby, I know you'd never lead me astray, so here's $250.
It's not just that she can't have a baby. It is, she really the very few connections and networks she's been able to build since being a Rockette is this circuit. And if she starts not showing up to gigs, and not being with child and being out of work for 9 months and then having
that'd be the end of it.
She would be on the street again.
Yeah,
that's why she's so upset. Not just I'm pregnant.
I know. I have tremendous sympathy for Penny, and I think this movie does a good job of showing not only the pressure and how this that being pregnant just is going to fall so disproportionately on the woman, make it the woman's responsibility. This will really hurt her life and her career in a way that it won't Robbie, the man. And even just like having to take time away from work to go get the abortion is going to really affect her job, which is a problem to this day for women who have to do that.
And it would have hurt Johnny and it would have hurt Billy, her having a child, because they've ever since she's 16 and thrown out on the street, that's been her family. That is why they're like brothers and sister, and they're so, brothers and sisters who dance like that. But that's her family. It would fuck them all up.
Yes.
To have a child to raise.
So baby says, here, I've got the money, use it. And they are a little suspicious, as they should be. Somebody.
Yeah. Who's going to.
Some rich person, says, you don't know me, but here's money. You're like, well, what is that? What does it mean? Here's money. What do you expect in return? Who are you telling about this? Yeah. But is this kid for real? She is for real. The only problem is she has to take time off work to get the abortion. And the big show's coming up, the big Mambo show. And
not a big show, just a gig.
Who's going to replace her? There's no one who could do it. Wait a minute. Maybe you, baby.
But they sell that pretty good. Johnny goes through the list of people who are as skilled as Penny, and they're all busy. Everybody works here, baby.
This is, it's an Astaire and Rogers plot. Like, sure. You just go with it.
Right.
So now the training montage, it basically becomes a sports movie for a little while.
Which I love.
And she's like, first she's not so great, but then she's starting to get the hang of it. But Johnny, he's a little frustrated. And Patrick Swayze, also frustrated.
Yes.
How much time is this supposed to take? Like, how many days is this?
Okay, so they all interact and have all that interaction at least before the end of the first week that they're there. They're there 3 weeks, and I think by the end of the second week or the beginning of the third is when the Mambo happens. So, I don't know, like 10 days?
10 days. So 10 days to train for the Mambo. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I guess, I don't know.
Just one dance. She doesn't do it that well. I like how many times she messes up, but still, it's good enough for the Sheldrake.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah. So, and the reason I said I don't think this movie is sexy is like they're doing technically sexy stuff, but it's all in montage, and I just don't feel any of it. Also, this Hungry Eye song is playing, and I get distracted every time an 80s song starts playing, and I'm trying to figure out, is there a method to, because you said you thought this movie has the best soundtrack of all time, and I thought that's ridiculous.
Well, these are just songs. When it's an 80s song, the two times that there are 80s songs, it's a song Patrick Swayze wrote, two of them. It's not
just his songs though, because there's more, but I was trying to figure out, is it thematic? Is it like when they're training or when they're feeling intense emotions, suddenly it's like we're out of the oldies 60s. Now we're in modern times.
No, it's not, because the one where they actually have sex is a great song that has nothing to do with.
Yeah.
I think it's just money.
I just wanted to say that you said this is the greatest soundtrack of all time. And I don't agree with that, but I was only thinking of, Hungers. And not, there's like 50 oldies, like that must have been so expensive to
and that's what license. Those are what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And okay, you have to think of Johnny's life. He's only been looked at as an object, as a gigolo, as someone who has to have sex for money. And he's always being seduced, always being put in sensual, sexual relationships. People are always taking advantage of him. For someone to be kind of playful and just kind of a kid and just is trying to help you and just teach me the fucking dance and this is not a sexy training, this is just we have to get this done, we have 10 fucking days. I don't think it needs to be sensual. He's had that. So I think this works. He's being shown a different kind of relationship, and she is too. It's sexy and sensual for her, but it's not the way that you want to see it, because I don't think Johnny would have wanted it that way. Her coming on to him constantly, I don't know. I buy the dynamic. I love the training parts.
I think you're right that this is a different kind of, for Patrick Swayze, he's like being won over by her as a dance partner, except that he is also won over by her as a sexual partner, and her too.
But it's not the kind of sexual romance he's probably used to. And it doesn't seem like he's been in a relationship for a long time. It would be impossible to have a relationship. I mean, think about it. Him and Penny are not together, probably because both of them have to do some sex work just to get the tips that they're trying to get and sustain their livelihood. So yeah, how could you be in a romantic relationship? He just doesn't get the opportunity probably that much.
Well, it's very impressive. The two actors on the log, obviously the two actors, not stunt people, not ringers. They're really doing it in front of the camera.
Okay,
it's
well,
cool. Good job.
Johnny and Baby have come to a head where she finally, he gets frustrated with her and she goes off on him. And that's when he's like, well, let's get out of here. And then, because you're glazing over some pretty amazing moments.
This is all montage though. Like what?
What? No, this is all dialogue. Once and about, and he hurts his back, and what I'm really trying to do is drop you on it. Well, let's get out of here then. I can do the entire thing if you want me to. And then they get on the log, and that's when, because she wants to learn how to do the lift, so now we're going to go do the lift shit. But that's when he teaches her or tells her all about his life. That's the important part. And then, of course, the classic lift scenes in the water where you can see nipples. Sexy, sexy nipples.
Not sexy at all. So
Baby's nipples, not his.
Not sexy. He and then it's the night of the mambo where they do the Toto and Poco.
Yeah.
I probably mentioned in 2017 that hearing this song is very triggering for me because I worked for a lawyer who did a TV show. Oh. Well, he did two TV shows. One was a Spanish language show called Toto and Poco, and it was the nightmare of my life having to coordinate with the people who produced that show to like get the footage. And that music sting played over and over. The Toto and Poco.
Okay.
So every time I hear it, I'm like, ah.
Okay.
Yes, but tell us about this performance. How does Baby do?
She does a believable amount of skilled dancing for someone who's been practicing really hard for 10 days. Mm-hmm. She makes the dancing with a partner is so much about these like subtle cues that the audience is not supposed to see. So she's supposed to do the lift, but then just signals to him with his eyes, I will not be doing the lift, and then does this funny, anyway, whatever. I think she fucks up just enough, and it's a believable enough professional job that it's not going to screw up Penny's ability to get the gig next time, or Johnny.
I agree. I love that it's not like suddenly she's like, she does a good enough job to impress Johnny, and he says like, you worked really hard. He's like really grateful, but it's not like it's not a magical fantasy where she is suddenly as good as him, because how could she be? And I like that they're in the car afterward, and it's sweet. He's like, you did good. Sweet. You did good.
Yeah. And you said, well, don't you want someone to tell you did good? I do.
No one ever does.
You did good.
But I want like a hunky Italian guy. Yeah, I know. You did good.
Me too. I mean, no, don't. Yeah. And you can tell that's kind of the first time we see that Johnny thinks he's starting to like her. You don't see him act that way until he's like kind of looking at his rearview mirror, and he just seems really appreciative. I don't think he thought she'd actually go through with it, do it, not check it out at the last minute, not totally screw him over until after it was over and done. I think he needed to see the check in the bank before he could feel like I can trust this person a little bit. So it makes sense that he would put his guard down then.
I think it's my favorite scene in the movie is them in the car, because they have first the you did good. They're kind of like flirty joking, and then there's just a long silence. Like, we should be fucking each other right now, but
and he sees that Baby is still herself. Like, this didn't change their dynamic at all. She's still, kind of like putting herself down a little bit and like, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, darn it! Like this really is her personality, and he can appreciate it for the first time. And this is one aggravate. I know they need it for the plot, but it's always aggravated me. Just one sentence would help this situation.
It is maddening. It's a maddening misunderstanding that like seems like it's from a different kind of, from a farce, from a different kind of movie.
Well, but they also seem like Johnny might have just even misunderstood. He is responsible for Penny. He takes care of her. That is his family. He's responsible. Who's responsible for this girl? Where that is an old-fashioned way, probably from the dad's generation, of saying who's responsible for getting this girl knocked up.
I agree. Yeah. And I feel bad for Johnny because he's just
being a sweetie.
The Jerry Orbach says who's responsible for this girl, and he's just like a dumb guy. He's like, I'm bam.
No, like a sweetheart.
He doesn't know what he's saying, and he doesn't know how it's coming across to Dr. Hausman. I like that. I think that where I get frustrated is just later in the movie when they're like...
Specifically while I know baby has a lot of like apologizing to do and explaining for her own self in the scene where she's chasing her dad back to their cabin to explain. But she couldn't have mentioned it. That's God.
No, I know you'd front load that. You'd be like, look.
No, well, he knows who Robbie is. Like it could change so much. Robbie could have gotten fired.
Mm-hmm. But baby goes to get her. Oh, we didn't even say this. Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Penny, the night of the Mambo number, Penny went to get the abortion from. It turns out she was getting it from a quack or just a doctor who did a bad job. And
no, it was definitely a scam, taking advantage of the fact that abortion wasn't legal.
Yeah, it didn't use sanitary tools. I don't know what happened, but you don't need to. It's just
folding table and a dirty knife, and he's only there for one night. That probably should give you the fact that he would only be there for one night is fly by night.
So she's basically, life-threatening medical emergency, and baby then goes and gets her dad
without thinking. Like just knows that's the cool thing about baby. She just does it.
She gets it done.
She's confident about her decisions.
She wakes him up, and he goes, and then who's responsible for the girl? Oh, I am. But then they leave, and baby's dad he's like, I didn't know you were hanging out with these reprobates. So what is happening in his mind right there? What does he think his daughter, it's just that she's associating with these people?
No, that she's if Penny is a person who can get knocked up, then baby being friends with Penny, or God forbid, friends with Johnny, means that she could ruin her whole life and his whole success look that he's worked so hard on, and he's groomed his child to like keep it in her pants and think about her career, and one vacation at this one place is going to throw that all off track. He's probably kept her pretty sheltered, and all of a sudden baby found a way to be out from under that shelter by going to the side of the resort she wasn't supposed to.
Well, after that, baby goes to
apologize to Johnny, who was not upset about about how he was treated, because he's used to being treated that way. He's just so relieved Penny's going to be okay, which is another sweet thing. Like, he's not mad. Baby doesn't even need to apologize. He's like, no, I am a piece of shit. No, that's fine. He just saved her life. I could never do that.
Yeah, all I can do is move my hip. I could never perform medical services like that. But yeah, she shows up at his apartment or at his cabin. He's like, your dad's so great. And I'm nothing. She's like, you're not nothing. You're everything. And he's like, last month I'm eating juju bees. This month the ladies are slipping me the room keys.
Please stop doing his accent.
Baby says, I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of the people outside this room, and I'm scared of never feeling this way again about anybody.
In my whole life. The way I do when I'm with you.
We were all 18 once. So then they dance. After they did the big dance, I wrote in my notes, this would be like if you and I did a podcast for fun. So they sort of dance fuck.
They're just filling in the blanks that they'd wanted to be filling the whole time. You and me don't do a podcast that simulates sex. If we did, we'd probably then, simulate that sex again and then have it. This isn't work.
It's not a bad idea.
Okay.
It is work.
We're going to change the format of the podcast immediately.
It is work. This is fucking work.
Not with her.
Okay, it'd be like if you graphic designed for fun after a hard day of graphic designing. And I was like,
fine.
Maybe turn that into a vector. So, yeah, she's like, post-coital, she's like, Johnny, how many women have you had? And he's like,
he doesn't answer.
But he's like, not as many as you'd think, basically. The women are always using me for sex.
I don't think he says, I think what he means is that answer isn't going to mean what you think it means, because I've had sex with many people I did not want to have sex with. That's the point. It's an inflated number because of necessity.
It's not like he's thinking, well, I did this and it's impressive. I did this and it's not like I feel good about it.
He was used.
Uh-huh.
He's a victim.
It continues to feel like White Lotus because the family has an awkward breakfast of grapefruit. And, the dad is like, I'm ready to leave. And the family's like, no, we want to stay for the big thing.
Well, because he hasn't told his wife shit.
Yeah, I know.
She has no idea what's going on. And Lisa doesn't either.
So baby then goes to check on Penny, and and then Johnny shows up, and we finally get our first Johnny.
Hey.
Johnny.
Which in my memory was every 10 seconds in this movie. Okay. Johnny. Penny's like, Johnny, don't you get mixed up with those guests. You know what happens. And then Johnny goes to baby, gives the dumb guy monologue about the women. They only want him for sex. And Neil, who's the activities, he's taking charge of the activities.
Right.
And he says to Johnny, I was thinking we mix it up with the dance number. And Johnny gets excited. He's like, let's do something really special. I've been thinking of this really neato dance. And he's like, hey, don't get ahead of your skis, son.
He's like, you're in over your head. He's like, bitch, you're in over your head.
I was thinking we do the pachanga. And Johnny's like, the pachanga?
No, that's not what he says.
Yes, he does.
No, he's like, all right, Neil, this year we'll end the season with the pachanga. Yeah, he pointedly says it a different way, but he says it a lot more somber. This is a big deal moment.
Yeah, although Johnny, take it from someone who is a freelancer who does works for hire. You're getting paid for services rendered. You don't have to put so much of yourself into it. Johnny then says to Baby that his dad called him and said he could get him a very solid and stable middle-class union job, but he rejects this because he just wants to dance. And
he wants to rise above his station.
But he could as a union painter. Like
he didn't know what he had, boy.
My God. Yeah, he'd be almost a millionaire. And now there's like very unconvincing sort of conflict brewing between them because he's like, you won't tell your dad about me.
Well, yeah, it's the whole tension of the entire movie. Like, I'm good for fun. I'm a spectacle. I'm good for a good time. I'm not good to keep. I've never been good to keep for anyone.
But then he forgets about it very quickly because she kisses his shoulder.
No.
And then he
shushes about it, but he doesn't forget.
And then Robbie sees them. He's like, looks like I picked the wrong sister. And Johnny cleans his clock, beats him up.
And then this is the very effective talk that Baby goes and has with her dad, I think, where the dad is whatever. She goes up and she's just sick of the silent treatment. And
wait, no, we forgot very crucial thing. Johnny has been accused of being a thief.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
And
right. And
how does this all happen?
Okay. So can't remember who says that they saw Johnny doing whatever, but Baby realizes the only way to save Johnny from getting fired, because she knows this job is very important to him, is to tell the truth, which is that she was in his room all night long. So he couldn't have stolen a wallet at 3 a.m. during a pinochle game. It
was like this other lady in another cabin who I didn't know, who saw Baby coming out of Johnny's cabin and looks offended. That's
who it was. It was, that is the lady he's dancing with in the gazebo. She just doesn't have makeup on. That's the bungalow bunny, right? She sees Baby leaving Johnny's cabin and they kiss goodbye. And then she's like, fuck that. He's my piece of butt. Yeah, he's mine. He's mine. So I'm going to frame him. I'm going to get him kicked. It's just a real Karen fucking thing to do. I mean, she's just like, I want him fired. Not having any kind of idea of what does that really mean to him. So anyway, Baby makes another quick and morally correct decision, which is to be like, no, he was with me. And then that's when the dad figures out, okay, I told her not to hang out with those guys anymore. She's doing more than hanging out. What the fuck? And he goes and sulks by the water.
Yeah, he basically found out my virginal daughter, not a virgin anymore. And so he goes and sits in the gazebo, and it is framed. He's the way he's sitting in a chair with his feet up on another chair. It is framed to look like he's holding a shotgun.
It's on purpose?
I don't know if it's on purpose, but multiple shots, it looks like he's holding a shotgun.
Yeah, I see it.
It's funny because he's going to shoot Johnny in the face.
I always thought it was just a really believable thing. He just wants to feel comfort, so he's just grabbing all the chairs. I'm going to sit like I want, damn it.
I understand the need to put your feet up on a chair.
Oh, thanks.
Baby then confronts him and he's like, Dad. She's like, Dad,
stop.
You told me.
Everything.
That's what we do on the podcast.
Not this movie.
Not this movie.
That's what the
This is a silly movie. This is what our podcast is. You make fun of the movies. We have fun.
We're getting a divorce.
I've been having so much fun in this episode, and you're just like, no.
Because it's the fucking reason why I had the idea for this podcast to begin with. There are certain movies that you just don't touch. Because I don't want them to be victims of yours. I want them
I like this movie.
You're a victim.
This is a fun movie, and it's a silly movie, and it's
this movie
kind of shabby movie.
Like Lisa. And this movie is a baby. Baby tells...
Wait, if we can't do voices of characters, we have no show.
I think it's funny that I don't like what you're doing. It's the point.
Okay.
God, get with the program.
So Baby very somberly says, Father, you are mad at me, but you're giving me this shot. You haven't talked to me in 3 hours, and it's unacceptable. And you lied. You said I lied to you, and I did, but you lied to me because you told me that you were this great man, tolerant and accepting and welcoming of everybody, but it's not true. This is all a little melodramatic. I think that baby's dad will get over this in about 2 days, so just kind of let it ride. But it's nice. I think Jerry Orbach plays this very well.
Wait, this is her moment while it's raw and fresh for her to say, "Look, you are not innocent in this, Dad." It was smart. It was well played. I don't know that she totally gets away with it, but he cries.
Yeah, and I like that the scene cuts like right as he starts to cry.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little emotional connection. Just I think you guys will all be fine no matter what.
Of course.
Okay.
They went into the Kellerman strong. They're going to leave it strong too.
Yes.
And she's about to like leave the nest. Like that's the larger picture is just he's realizing he can't control her future. He has tried to put her in exactly the right path that he wants. And she's been given this much freedom. The run of the grounds of this freaking resort hasn't even gone to college yet. And okay.
Anyway,
right.
It's a misunderstanding.
Okay. Anyway, so now Johnny feels like he needs to do his part because he now knows that Dr. Hausman knows baby was with him and probably sexing. So he just Hail Mary he knows he's fired anyway. Let me just go see if I can like shake this guy's hand and let him know I'm not a horrible guy. He doesn't really get a chance to say anything, but Dr. Hausman does, and he is saucy. Anyway, he treats him like crap. It doesn't do any good. It just kind of like puts the nail in the coffin for Johnny. Like, yeah, okay. It doesn't even matter if baby vouches for me. This guy will never accept me. It's what I thought. It's what he thought. Whenever you get the confirmation of the thing you already believed, it's easy to walk away from that. That's why Johnny is now leaving. Not just because he's fired, but because he's like, well, nope, there's nothing here. Bye.
And how ironic that is he's trying to say like, Dr. Hausman, you don't know the real me. Mm-hmm. He just fires it right back. You don't know nothing about me, son.
Right.
People, we just need to talk to each other. We need to listen.
Right. He walked all the way over to your cabin in his high heel boots. Why didn't you let him talk? Doctor? Fucking shit ass Robbie. Okay, now it's the talent show. It's the end. It's the orgasm of the whole movie. And this is when Dr. Hausman finds out, goes to give Robbie a big envelope of cash, and Robbie's like, thanks for helping with Penny, and I guess girls fuck, huh? And Dr. Hausman is disgusted and goes and sits down.
Snatches the envelope back.
Snatches it back. No money for you, piece of shit. And they go sit down and they're watching the boring ass fucking closing. Show. Oh my God. You can tell it's very believable, right? Like this is the end number is a whole like chorus about Kellerman's.
Kellerman, what a man,
Stop
what
it.
A man.
Voices, hearts, and hands at Kellerman's. And I love that Lisa's always singing after she's supposed to be not singing. Anyway, guess who walks in?
Johnny. And he goes and he says, nobody puts baby in a corner.
Which he hated that line. It's just, it is a weird thing to, he probably just walked up and was like, what do I say?
I mean, if it's one of the famous movie lines, I think people usually say nobody puts baby in the corner. But it's
right.
It's a specific, it literally has to have her in a corner for it to make sense, but it's just transcended the movie. And I did now my third time watching this movie that Lacey thinks I hate, but I actually kind of like. This time I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When he says that.
He stands up to the dad.
And just for somebody saying it about you, not only standing up for you, but saying like, fucking girl's cool as hell.
Right. And quit babying her. And that's why he says Frances Hausman when he introduces her.
He does, yes. Good for him.
Well, because that whole thing
and
is
I'm
like...
John Castle.
Everyone call me J-Dog from now on. But that is his whole thing is like, you don't see who she is. You see who you want her to stay. And so don't put this baby away in your little, playpen. And this is Francis, y'all.
But he interrupts the big Kellerman. What a man. He's a good guy. And this place is great.
Stop.
Why?
Well, aren't you trying to torture me? So I'm being tortured. Just...
Yeah, Johnny takes the mic and he's like, sorry, everyone, to ruin the entertainment, but I have a few things to get off my chest. and now he, reads his manifesto, and then this lady's Frances Houseman, and she's great. And now we're gonna do our dance.
And it's the best. It's the fucking best ever. And they do the dance, and they do all the steps, and she's just really feeling it because it's her gugum is happening, and they do the lifts, and it's beautiful and perfect. Mm-hmm. And then everybody dances, and it's right after Kellerman says to Tito that everything's changing. Trips to Europe is what the kids want. How are we going to keep doing this? And it's in that moment, and I thought they should have had a dirty dancing too, that he realizes this is what people want. This just got everybody to stand up. Dancing in a less, conservative way. Let's not do just traditional stuff. What if we could be known for being more fun here and inclusive? And I mean, I think that's what you're supposed to get from.
Oh yes, but it's a fantasy. It's like,
completely.
We don't actually, we would never live in that world where the upper crust are happy with the riffraff coming in and dancing with them.
That's not what I mean. I mean, we get more riffraff in here. We do more dirty stuff.
Yes, I know, but it's the upper crust who pay the bills, and what they want, they get. And if they want things to be conservative, look at the country we live in.
I'm just saying that maybe there's more dirty options, not that it just changes the entire club.
I wrote that in my notes that there should be like a deleted scene where we see Marty McFly is like off stage, and he's a time traveler who's like, here's the song we're going to play from the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, your kids are going to love it. That's the movie.
Yeah.
So would Johnny and Baby have ended up together, Lacey?
No. And I think the director knew that. Patrick Swayze certainly took it as that it's a ill-fated romance, that it's meant to be a summer romance, but it was probably something really important to both of them for their whole lives. It's just, you can't kill Johnny because you're not in a flood, but if this were on a boat, he would have died. He had to die. Yeah. It's just better if he's dead. I really got sad about it this time, though, thinking about that they really wouldn't.
Okay, let's talk about this.
I think it's the first time I realized I'm supposed to understand this is not the rest of their lives. This isn't who they are. He wants to do bigger things. He wants to keep going. He wants to see himself rise above his station, as I said. And she's got big hopes and dreams that aren't being a housewife. I went 39 years thinking that was a perfect love story that makes sense. And I don't know why. This is what I'm saying. This is a movie that truly feels like a family member. I feel like I thought my mom and dad were fated for each other and they have a perfect romance. This is not true life. This is what I'm saying about the movie. And then I realized, they forced a marriage. They were never right for each other. They shouldn't have been together. I can still love them. I just have to love them separately. Why? And then I started thinking about Patrick Swayze actually being dead and Jennifer Grey's career being ruined and her nose being gone. And I just kind of spiraled. Also, I hadn't been sleeping that well.
It's good for romances to end when you're young. You want to marry the person you went to summer vacation with when you were 18?
Right. You want to reconnect with Johnny later after you guys have done what you needed to do. Then you shut up. Anyway, come on, Matt.
Come on, Lacey. Yeah, so we said, Johnny, he can't get his job with the union. He's cheating on Baby serially. She votes for Nixon in 72.
Stop with fake fucking future. Mine was perfectly fine. Yours always gets real political.